I can't tell you how many times I've seen some headline on a video. I'm like, oh my God, like, I cannot wait to hear this. And then after 20 minutes, if you like and subscribe, blah, 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 and the main clip that they're trying to clickbait you on was like 10 seconds of a nothing burger. That's
or a made up one. Like why they don't even need a nothing burger anymore. They can have any burger you want.
Like and subscribe, please. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Welcome back to the Roundtable. We have with us today in the studio, Brian Marshall. Welcome back, sir.
Thanks for having me.
And I have my son, Tyler Darden. Tyler, how you doing?
Good. It's good to be here.
We talk about AI a lot in this channel. This focus topic is on AI, but it's also the younger gen. So again, welcome. Maybe tell us a little bit about what you do and your line of work.
Yeah. So again, thanks for having me on. About time. And so I work at a bank here in town. I'm in their investment team. Just graduated from Gannon 2 years ago, and so just kind of getting my career going. I was in management for a year at the bank, and then shifted up. So now I do a lot of like back office investment work. So account maintenance, moving money for clients that request it, things like that.
So it sounds like there's a high degree of research, perhaps, or?
Yeah, at times, for sure.
Okay.
It's a lot of like reports. It can be like monthly reports, quarterly reports. So like we just had the third quarter close. So
so these are areas that, when I think of automation, is that a thing for your job role, or are you still cranking these things out manually?
Looking back on previous episodes, we talked about the elimination of the white collar job. If you sit at a desk, that job's probably gone in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
My current job 100% could be gone in the next 5 or 10 years.
So Brian, that's two of us.
Uh-huh.
Are you sheep? Are you following us, or you have a little more tempered view of that?
No. So, I agree that probably a lot of those jobs could be eliminated, and they probably will be. That's not untrue. At the same time, a lot of these entry-level jobs are to prepare you for the job that's in the future. So although you can automate a job, I do think that there are opportunities, and there will be times when they don't automate the job, not because they can't, but because you lose the stepping stone to get you from point A to point B.
I'm tired of saying it. I'm smarter every time you're here, right? So this is another thought that's never crossed my mind. Now, it's interesting because I was going to go right to, what's the first line of the cut? Entry level.
Right.
That's usually where some level of mundane exists, but that's an interesting viewpoint.
Right. Well, if there's no way to enter, how do I get to the second level? If there's the second level's got to become the first level, and if there's a barrier to entry into that level, then we've got a problem. Now, I'm not saying that Tyler's job is safe in that way in the future, and they won't just have a button, or Tyler won't walk in and just hit a button. And when you said, is he doing it by hand? I doubt he's doing with slide rules and, rolling things out. He's probably got a computer, right? He's probably not pulling out the calculator with the tape.
My team, there are 4 of us. So could it easily be 2 of us? Yes, for sure. But I agree with Brian that, that entry level is important in terms of career growth. And a lot of companies, they like to hire on experience. Well, how are you supposed to get that experience if you don't have these entry level positions for people to grow within the organization?
Yeah, this is a real challenge. It's,
No, this is not AI related, but cultivating and being able to promote from within is a good way to keep your culture growing. So if we're constantly hiring on experience and pulling people from the outside, then I've got to rely on my established management to keep that culture going. That's hard to do if you're replacing people all the time, if you're churning them over.
Do you think that we are going away from that? Is that why you bring that up? Like, are we not promoting from within as much as maybe we have in the past?
Well, so I think we want to promote from within. I think it's hard to keep people because everybody tells you make more money if you jump.
That's true.
Right.
Because we joke about how it's better to quit, wait a year, and then come back. because you'll make more money.
Well, see, interesting. So this is something that does cross the generational divides.
Well, it's because, if you hire somebody at 20 years old, a lot of your raises are based on the percentage of what you were hired at. Whereas if you're bringing somebody from within, it's just based on the market and the demand.
It's funny because now, I'm kind of going outside of the AI realm, but I think about this larger macroeconomic problem we'll also get into is affordability and people staying employed. And if we're a growing population and we keep automating more and we keep rationalizing the workforce more, there's a lopsided balance of unemployment and having wage earners out in the marketplace. But another thing that I think businesses have to get over is if you're rationalizing and you're automating and you're recognizing those benefits, I don't see the pay always keeping pace. So I don't know, what's your thoughts with like your friends in your network? Like, do you feel their incomes match with today's costs, or is it two-income house a must?
God, no.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is because of COVID. So I fall into the category of recent college graduates that are dealing with the, kind of spike in everything since COVID happened in the economy right now. You 100% can't live on your own with just one income. It's very tough because the demand for rent is really high. So rent's almost a mortgage at this point. Mm-hmm. And when you're just graduating college, you have an entry-level position. It's reasonable to assume that you have student loan debt. It's reasonable to assume that you might have a car payment on top of groceries being up 25% since 2020. And hourly wages, actually, compared to everything else, going down almost 1% in terms of affordability.
So do you think that has attributed to the job hopping, is to trying to keep up and get to that level of income? Is it an attention span thing?
I think the job hopping is more of an attention span thing.
So, back to, all right, this generation, and I'm not saying TikTok's AI, but what I am saying is that the content it feeds you has some AI algorithms behind it. I was watching, editing an episode, and there was a YouTube short that came up. A topic that is unrelated to anything I was looking at. I think it had an owl in it. And you would think that I had an owl fetish. Like, on my part-time, I'm f***ing owls, because every short and suggested video after that was owl-related. So I understand how we're so polarized and how my truth is just continuously fed. You're wrong. I know you're wrong, so I'm getting flooded with what I want to see and hear. So there's a systemic problem there, but that's also that quick attention span thing. And
well, it actually could be a little bit of both, because in a world where instant gratification has overtaken a lot of people with TikTok, these 5 to 10 second videos, when you're bored, you're automatically not bored by just sitting and scrolling on your phone. People maybe tend to not want to work as hard to get to a certain point of their career. And after a year, if they, aren't getting a 10% raise or a promotion, they're like, well, I'm going to go try something different, or I'm going to go to another company that might give me that, but probably won't. But it's just that whole oh, well, I don't like this right now, I'm just going to go do something different.
That could be part of it. I think it's also, I think this might be generational in some ways. And I don't mean that this is going to come across like talking out of both sides of my mouth here. I've always worked at a place, and I've only worked at a few, but I've always worked at a place where when I'm working there, I put my all into that thing. People often ask me, do you own that place? Well, I don't own it, but they feel like I do, right? Not because I tell them that I do, but the passion at which I go about my work and just the way I was raised. So I'm going to do it all the way. It gives me a sense of ownership and a sense of belonging, a sense of wanting to be there. The people on your TikToks, right? I don't have TikTok, but whatever that thing is, on that, right? Those people are out there telling you the company doesn't care about you. All you have to do is worry about yourself. That has nothing to do with them. If you have a better opportunity, if you can make 30 cents more, you should do that thing. And I'm not saying they're wrong, right? I hear that argument and go, that they're probably not right. Like they're probably not wrong. It's not me. It's not the way that I'm wired to be looking for what's that next thing. How do I make that jump? What's the thing I've got to do? What's that thing?
And all you have to do is like one video, and then you're going to get 10 more just like it.
I think a broader point is like, because of these algorithms and how quick you can be fed information, bad or good, there's something, there's a bigger, how our brains are being wired.
Right. Well, it's a dopamine hit, right? You're getting instant gratification for the thing you want. And who doesn't like to be told you were right? And if there's an infinite amount of content out there, then one of them, any number of them, are going to be on my side of whatever that thing is. So where we used to be challenged to try to have to come up with a thing, all we have to do is be told one thing and go, I think that sounds good. And if 10 other people tell us that's true.
So let's get back out of our algorithm and talk about the use of AI. Do you find yourself leveraging it in your professional life, but also in your social life? Like, is it a tool for you?
Right now, no. And professionally, I don't think it will be for a little while, just because of how much security and regulation there is in banking.
Yeah. What about all right? So your social life.
The closest thing would be like if I look something up on Google and it gives me something, I can click, AI this more. If I don't want to scroll and find articles about whatever I'm looking for.
Sure. If I how do I do X, Y, and Z? Mm-hmm. You used to have to go to YouTube and then watch a video for 45 minutes to try to find when the guy snuck in the thing. But now I want to work on my washing machine. I can just ask it. It's already watched all the videos and it's going to come back and bring me with the link for the part. What size screw do I need to, in the washer model XYZ, and it brings that back to me. I didn't have to watch the video. Like, we used to have to go find the manual and read it. And then it evolved to a guy in his garage who set up his camera and did the whole thing in front of you, which is awesome, right? And now something else has watched all those videos and can discern it down to the exact what I need, and then a link to the video to the minute when they're actually taking that apart, and I don't have to watch the 15 minutes of him talking about his dog and everything else and everything after the other. It's
like and subscribe, please. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, yes. So the DIY around the house, it's a staple. Like, just the tractor I needed. I have a wood chipper on the back of this tractor. Anything I would feed in there greater than an inch, it would disengage. And I got tired of manually re-engaging. ChatGPT, 5 minutes later, here's a YouTube video, go to minute 20, it tells you exactly how to adjust it. Boom, done. That would have been forever researching.
You've been a whole minute 20 waiting for that to come up.
That's right.
You got it in 5 seconds.
How the minutes are precious now.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah. All right, so back in our day, I'm looking at Brian, but I'm going to pivot to Tyler, like just doing research. Like, the DIY thing is real, but from a student perspective, if I'm doing a research paper, I need something to do some kind of assignment. Like, we had an episode on this, is AI cheating? And you had a great analogy, Brian, where, well, how is it any different than me walking down to the library and plagiarizing the shit out of that? So AI is just a quicker form of that, but it brings up kind of this laziness element. So you had some good points around that. For example, like, the act of going to the library is a concerted effort. I have to read the books. Even if I'm plagiarizing it, a lot of time has elapsed for me to absorb it. AI, I can, even the bibliography level, if that's still a thing, it's a click. And so does that have other impacts? The swiping up, the job hopping, the attention span, like to watch a 2-hour movie, is that a death sentence, or do you guys enjoy it? I don't know.
I think it can carry over to just not working hard. And when you skirt through everything, and we'll use school as an example, like writing papers and stuff like that, well, that's going to carry over to the workplace. And you're going to try to, whether it's skirting or being more efficient, well, that's all is finding the workaround for me to get this done as quick as possible. That might not be my own work. And that can also carry over into your personal life. Like, if you're in a relationship and you're you don't want to put in any extra effort because you're so used to just doing something in 5 minutes and having the computer tell you what to do.
All right, that's interesting. So what I hear you saying is that hard work is good for us, right? And which I agree with. So I'm with you.
I would think so, yeah.
So yeah, you know, metal, you know, forms metal, you know, like you're tested in fire, all of those things, if you're handed everything and you don't have to work for anything. So I'll agree on that point, but I will say that I don't think working hard at writing a paper, just like we used to work really hard to do long division, right? And then the calculator came out. Like we still had to learn how to do division, but nobody ever told you, like, when you got past third grade, you didn't have to go to 72 places because nobody was going to sit there and watch you do that when you could just type it into a calculator and just get the answer.
Well, it's not even just writing papers. It's the like aspect of learning. It's retention of what you're going to, you know, school for. And I guess we'll keep on the education for a second, but you're paying, you know, minimum $40,000 to go to school. And if you're having AI do most of your assignments for you, you know, what are you getting out of that other than a piece of paper?
Oh, well, that's a terrible plan, right? That's if that's what you plan to do as the person on the backside, you're cheating yourself.
Now that I'm on the other side of the, hiring and recruiting, it used to be that piece of paper was a way to weed out, because my way of thinking was, and I wanted to see if they held down a job. I don't spare me the bullshit of I focused on my education so I get A's. I don't give a shit. I'd rather someone have all B's, but they held down a 40-hour week job while going to school full time. That's my guy or gal right there. But it was a weeding out method. Now, I don't know, like, because of what you just said.
Well, why would you pay for college, right? Why do you pay?
Because this is what I want to do in life, and I can take classes that are narrow focused on that career.
Because that career decided you needed that degree to do that thing, right? Like that was decided. You didn't decide that. It was decided by, because if you could do the thing you wanted to do and didn't need to go do that, they would just have a training program or whatever it was, you'd figure out how to go do that. Somebody decided you needed to have that. For colleges to still exist, they have to be putting out the person that comes through those programs has to be skilled enough to go do that thing. As a good educator, I'm going to look at that and say, absolutely, I don't want you spending all of this time trying to figure out how to undangle this participle or do this whatever. You're going to feed it in, it's going to bring it back. That's awesome. I got your paper. It looks great. I just set it over here. So now let's talk about your paper. Explain to me what your thoughts were on X,
there you
Y,
go.
and Z.
There you go.
And now that becomes the thing. The thing is not, could I write a really nice paper? It's, can I produce the quality that needs to be there?
Back to the income thing too, anymore in education, to your point, minimum 40K to what? To get out of school and make $15 an hour? Who signs up for that? You don't have a choice for that.
It's not susceptible. It's not sustainable, right? That can't be the thing. And forget that. Like $40,000 on the low side, $15 an hour also on the low side. Flip it all the way to the other side. That's why we don't have doctors, right? If it's going to cost me $800, $900, $1 million to go to school to become this doctor, when I come out with the insurance, et cetera, I can't make good money.
We're going to have less and less people go into practices like medical and law.
All the AI models have read every law book, caseload, everything. So all that research, those paralegals, I think they're toast, and it hasn't been realized yet, but it's going to be. Because why would you pay someone to go do research that I can do in 2 seconds?
Well, that goes back to Brian's point about how that being a paralegal sometimes is a step to being a lawyer.
Right. You got to be able to do the work. Anytime in like we did use the shovels used to be squarer, right? And we figured out how to make them pointier.
The wheel.
Nobody went and said, man, you know what? It was way better when that thing didn't roll as well, right? We've always evolved over time to figure out what makes sense. And it always corrects. There's probably a moment, and we're probably at one of those moments right now, where it feels unfair to be using these things because is it cheating?
It's no different than me using some kind of CNC machine. Do you state when you deliver product to your customer, well, we didn't hand make this. We put it in a machine and it, machined it. This is just another version of that.
There used to be a librarian at the library. It was this thing called the card catalog, right? And you pull it out and Dewey Decimal Systems and all those things to try to find what you
are
have, right?
old.
I am old.
So what does the future of college then and education look like? I mean, I can see a future where the time, start learning to be a farmer again, plumber again, electrician again.
We have to kind of switch the norm, because most of the time, your parents are telling you, well, you're going to go to college. It's just assumed you're going to go to college. But we're at the point where if you're better off not going to college in terms of your starting salary right away, if you're going to be an electrician or a plumber, because of simple supply and demand, there's a huge demand for plumbers and electricians and welders and all that. You can go to a trade school for a year or two, spend a fraction of what you would on college, and make twice what the entry-level recent college grads are making, and you're better off.
All right, so and you got your master's degree. So is that beneficial? Because to me, it's a box checking exercise. If I have to look between Tyler Darden and Suzanne, whatever, Tyler has a master's degree. They're equally skilled. He has a master's degree. Now, I want to make sure you're not an asshole. I mean, I like there's a social side to this workforce. I don't know. Was it worth the money?
I'm going to say right now, in my age and my field and all that, no. Now, will it benefit me 10 years down the road? Yes, because a lot of times when you want to advance in your career or be senior level and all that, it's almost like a requirement. And those people that don't have it will have to go back and get it.
Right. But that's been there for a while. That's been there pre-AI.
Well, yeah.
So like, is this a case of industries and businesses are going to catch up? Like, does that even play anymore?
The master's degree?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't really think so.
Well, I think it just depends on what you're doing.
Like the pharmacy industry. I mean, that's a good industry to be in. But I'm like, what?
They're all closing.
Somebody behind the counter in a white robe, standing there for 47 hours doing, I don't know what they're doing, but they're telling somebody to bag this up.
They're making sure you don't die, though. Like that will say, like that.
Well, unless it's Skynet and the nefarious computer, the computer's going to tell exactly, and it's going to dispense it, and it's probably going to bag it for you.
Right. No, that part is all going to be true. But until it's Skynet, well, maybe not the Skynet part, but until everything's in there, it still takes the person to say, what else are you taking? Did you think about this?
So are you skeptical of AI?
For now, a little bit.
Really?
A little bit.
Okay.
And that's more just because there's, it doesn't seem like right now there's a lot of guide rails on it.
Bad guys can use it too.
Right. And I know that, Tom had talked about in the previous episode and Mustafa about the arms race. Are people in the United States who are making these AIs not necessarily taking their time with it because they're trying to beat their competitor. They're trying to beat other countries.
Let's ask the guy who doesn't watch this episode, this channel, Brian Marshall.
Yeah.
But Mustafa Suleiman, the coming wave.
We as a society, I'm going to take it back a step to the security of all this. You said guide rails, right? So no guardrails on AI. And there's really no guardrails on anything. Until we, as the consumer who's using these things, are requiring it to be secure by demand, that you can't put something out haphazard, that you can't just let it do whatever, that we're not going to use the product that does not have the security built into it. Until we get to that place in our lives, which might not happen in our lives, right? It will eventually become the thing, because it will be our undoing when it's not that, right? That will be the thing that happens, because this race to be first instead of the race to be right is a giant problem in all of those things.
Compounded by this being an arms race across the geopolitical spectrum, China, Russia.
Yeah.
You can, like the actress for hire. I don't know who that AI person is, but it's completely AI and it's damn impressive, because I'm surrounded by this all the time where I can pick out an eye characteristic that tells me it's AI. Everything else is perfect, or at least I like to think I can. this actress for hire in Hollywood, I understand why the Screen Actors Guild was having a tizzy, because it's amazing with the ahs and the ums and the mannerisms. And now to watch this AI model in an hour 20 movie may show chinks in the armor. I don't know, but thinking about just how hyper realistic it is, how are we as a society in your generation, like, how do you treat news? Like, you read something, like, people blast the mainstream media all the time. I'm like, that's one of the last bastions of, you have a human being reporting something old school research.
That's the huge issue with people my age and my generation. Their only consumption of news is what's on TikTok.
Unbelievable.
What's on Instagram.
How do you and I have people my age who will tell me something, I'm like, and I'll cite something back, and they're like, well, I have no idea what you're talking about. How on earth do you have no idea what I'm talking about? Well, it turns out they're going down those types of rabbit holes, and they're just swiping.
Right. You only hear what you want to hear. So
all right, so how do we combat this? Like, this is the grand question.
Well, I don't know that it is compatible. That's like the human desire to be liked and the human desire to be right is so strong, and that exists in that way. The only way this gets to the other side of it is the demand of the many to say, we've got to stop.
I hate to say it this way. This is really bad. This is a bad person of society comment to say, but it feels like, but it's kind of where my interpretation of the coming wave goes, is that it's going to take some pretty awful bad things to happen to force that kind of change.
Well, so this is why I'm a little skeptical, because of all this stuff, because we at a macro level have so much uncertainty in how we are consuming news and real world events, and that has an impact on our lives, and we're going out and broadcasting what we see, and none of it could be true.
And we've had people on this very show that like to get on their soapbox and go, well, that's why you have to do research and get the facts. And it turns out, right, the very facts that this is being referenced is the same bullshit that we're all talking about here. You know?
Yeah, I don't
know how you get around it.
Where do you do good research? From where would you find
it? Depends who you ask.
So you're watching the nightly news. Where did they find that information?
We don't know.
Exactly. There's no chance at the speed at which it's coming. They didn't go sit with the original person and do the old, 5 W's and all the things. There's no chance. They couldn't be reporting it this quickly. I think they're trying. I also think they need ratings or they get canceled.
The network has 24 hours of opportunity in a day to make the ad revenue. Surely you can give us 30 minutes of something that's not, if we don't say what we think people, if we don't beat this network, then they're going to turn the channel. I mean, like it's such a large topic. Usually it comes down to money.
Right.
Well, it's all about money.
Yep.
Everything is about money when it comes down to it. But it's money or power.
Power was my next comment.
Like those all.
We can have all the best guardrails in the world. Internet doesn't care about your guardrails.
Circling back a little bit to that, you said a way that we can fix it per se. So TikTok's For You page, I would say that is a little bit of bias because it's designed for you. Well, if we just eliminate that type of bias where the videos you're seeing are at random and it's not, you're able to get down a rabbit hole of whatever you like. Well, now, I don't know if you can eliminate that.
The YouTube, so your dad, the owl f***er, I wasn't YouTube for you. I watched one short, and I am inundated with owls on my feed.
It guessed.
No wonder people are so entrenched in their sides. Because I can't say what's the opposite of an owl, what's an armadillo, so I should get armadillo content. But I would think politically, if I watch one thing, something politically charged, that the feed would try to give you both sides.
That goes back to the bias. It just won't happen.
I agree, and I'm with you, but I think
you can't mandate it. So when you talk about guardrails or guardrails are something that's mandated. Who's mandating this?
And I hate this whole media conglomerate. Like, pretty soon it's going to be 2 media companies controlling all the content that comes out.
Well, they're going to try to, except that everybody with an iPhone can make any content they want. So they're going to be trying to hire those people or grab that, whatever that is. Like, we've never been more compressed like that on the top and more diverse where you don't have to be any of those places to be making content.
If you fast forward, what does your crystal ball tell you? Like, how, so you're a bit of a skeptic. I get it, that this makes sense to me. But how do you see AI shaping your career 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Like,
I will have to adapt it. It will have to be incorporated into what I do for work, because otherwise you fall behind. If you're not taking advantage of the other side of it, so that the bullish part, if you're not taking advantage of the opportunities it provides, you're falling behind your peers, your competition.
I feel like the human side never goes away, because I still, me personally, want to have a relationship with this investment. I don't want to be some computer that's doing all the things. I like the relationship part, but maybe the computer's doing all the things.
Well, so way down the road, eventually people that think like that are going to, this is brutal to say, but die off. Like, eventually you're not going to have the 75-year-old man who has to go into the bank.
Well, Brian, all right, fair point. So Brian, think about VNet, and you have all these technicians. Like, do you see like the self-service ability of technology where now someone has to pull the wire, someone has to...
Sure, but when it comes to the fiber stuff, there's stuff that AI is a long way away from.
Sure.
I mean, theoretically, computers have become easier to use, right? They just work until they don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And people are calling for that thing. We have become dumber, right, as a society. So our willingness to jump in there and figure it out for ourselves is not great.
We're big on this at CIO Global, where we put an emphasis on everybody's your own QA. You got to have that quality assurance mindset now, because just because a task that took you an hour that now takes you 5 minutes should take you 15 minutes, because you need 10 minutes into making sure that there's some thought into it, or you're doing just a little bit of homework. Just like
you have to check yourself. If you look up something using AI and it gives you this information, you almost have to do a teensy bit of the old school research to be like, does this make sense?
No different than the tools I use to record this podcast. I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to troubleshoot one thing. ChatGPT was certain. It was A, B, and C. Well, I'm on Y and Z before I got any kind of headway, but it was confident in telling me what to do. And then my only validation path was trying to do what it told me. Otherwise, I could blindly trust.
If you don't ask a specific enough question to the AI, is not going to give you...
Well, it's going to give you an answer.
An answer, but it might not be the best answer.
All right, so quick roundtable thoughts. I'll start. Brian, are we going to... Is our future involving mass unemployment and universal basic income?
I don't think so. I think the economy always figures out a way to correct itself. I think I said it earlier, a long time ago in one of these, that, it's going to be tough to sell things to people that don't have income.
Back to the universal basic income thought.
So maybe, I don't dabble into those waters of how that works, right?
Right.
I just say that there will always have to be some way. You can't keep generating things if there's no one to buy them, right? And somewhere in my heart, I feel like we're going to stop wanting things. We have become so thing heavy. Like, we used to go an entire year before you'd get something. Like you'd maybe get something on your birthday.
But Christmas was
maybe something on a Christmas.
Yeah.
And now the Amazon guy comes every day. I lived in a time when we didn't get, besides groceries, there were no new things. I do think that will be part of our correction as well.
I do think on the universal income that eventually we're probably going to get there, because the majority of people would prefer not to work. Now, is that a good thing? Maybe not, because you can get bored. Like, we naturally will get bored doing nothing or doing the same thing every single day. Like, you know, golfing every single day if you're retired. Well, eventually you're going to want to do something different. And, you know, work can provide that, you know, change of pace to it.
You got to have purpose. Yeah.
Right, but it doesn't have to be work. But I'm with you. Like, I couldn't imagine not, you know, because I mean, I've worked since I was 13. We've got to change our habits and our, like, this, what's going across those things, right? It's not just garbage. There's ads in between each one of those telling you need one of these things. Look at this. This is going to cut your watermelon better.
TikTok shop.
What in the world have we ever done before watermelon cut? Like, how can there be so many different ways to cut a watermelon? Well, We've lived for so long just cutting a watermelon with a knife.
But if you're somebody who has everything they think they need, those swipes...
To tell you what you need.
Those swipes are like, oh, I never thought of that. God damn it. I can cut watermelon like that? I can't believe I lived in the Stone Age of holding the rind in my hands. You know, right. I mean, yeah, there's always that part too. Pretty soon you have a house full of shit and, you know, you don't need it. But all right. Well, hey, gentlemen, thank you both for being here again today. I always love this topic. I mean, it's a never-ending one for sure. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for having me. It's a great time.
All right. See you, everybody.